Yo guys, alright, so I want to make a beginner Fire Mage arena guide, specifically on the 3v3 bracket, which is something I don't think I've done. I mean, I've made PvP guides for Fire Mages, but nothing specifically for arenas. I don't even know how many people play Fire Mage anymore because of Legion, and not only that, but how many people that play Fire Mage and actually want to get better in the arenas. It's very rare for me to see Fire Mages when I queue anywhere between like 1800 MMR to 2.7 MMR. It's very rare that I see Fire Mages. Most of the other casters all do better damage than the Fire Mage, so the damage is kind of lacking, which makes it a little bit less fun. But I mean, there's still different pros and benefits to playing the spec, which I'll go over in the video. But nonetheless, I feel like there might be a small handful of people that are still playing Fire Mage and want to excel in the threes bracket, that I feel like this video could help the small portion of the people out there. And not only that, but I've been queuing tons and tons of arena. Like the other day, I queued 10 hours of just straight Fire Mage arena across all my mages, and it was all on my live stream too. I've been streaming all the games. I have like 800 games on this mage, and then I have 3 mages, so spread across all my mages I have over 1200 games played this season. I've been really committing a lot of time in my life to the game right now. I just really want to get rank 1 again, which is something that I haven't pushed for in a long time. So I'm very committed right now, and throughout all these hours of playing, I feel like I've kind of cracked little bits of the nuance of the play style, different mindsets and plays that you can make, which I want to share with you guys. Like, once again, I don't know how many of you guys are still interested in this, but I feel like for now I'm going to do a beginner guide for the 3v3 Fire Mage arena bracket, and then later on do more advanced tactics. If that's what you guys are interested in, you can let me know in the comments. But I'm going to keep it simple here. The simple mindsets of a Fire Mage in the arenas, the best comps you should play, how to score kills, how to win games, positioning, communication, and all that. So it's going to be probably a little lengthy of a video. Later on, I'm going to commentate some games I have on my live stream. Once again, I stream all my games that I play. I don't really make YouTube videos anymore, but this is something that I feel like will benefit the viewers on my live stream. If you guys watch this video first and then you're watching the games live on my stream, you'll actually understand the backbone of what's actually happening in the arenas, because I feel like a lot of people watch my stream and actually don't know what's happening, or they just see the little damage numbers and they're like, oh, fire sucks, it does no damage. But the little details are what make or break the game, right? So yeah, let's get started, I guess. So far, I also did like a general PvP Fire Mage guide like a couple months back, so I'm going to link that down below if you want to check that out first. I'm not going to go over all the basic stuff. I want to more talk about the arena side of things. But a big thing here before you start queuing, big talent you got to take is Burning Determination. This thing is what makes Fire Mages super good. First things first, the damage is very low. Like I said earlier, when it comes to casters, Fire Mage, the spec and class, does probably the least amount of damage compared to any other caster in the game right now. Like all the Warlock specs, Boomkin, Shadow Priest, Elemental Shaman, every single caster spec can pump out more DPS than a Fire Mage in the arenas. But what makes Fire Mage viable and actually good is the CC it brings. So I mean, obviously you have a spammable polymorph. You can polymorph the healer, and then you have your Dragon's Breath and Ring of Frost. So if you think about it, you have a CC on every school. So you have Polymorph on the Arcane tree, Dragon's Breath on the Fire tree, and Ring of Frost on the Frost tree. So say like you're going to try to Dragon's Breath ring the healer and then you get kicked, you can still Polymorph when you're locked out. Vice versa. Or you can still Frost Nova. Or if you try to Poly and you get locked, you can still DB ring. So there's a lot of different ways you can land CC, which brings the good kill potential to the table with the comps. Once again, the damage lacks, but the CC is there, which is why Burning Determination is really important to run. This is pretty much my default spec. I rarely go Netherwind Armor or Priz Cloak. It just depends. Once in a while, I'll swap it out. But with Priz Cloak being nerfed and Netherwind Armor, reducing crit chance against you, it's just not as good as Burning Determination. And what it does is after you get kicked, by like say like a counter spell or a pummel, the next silence or kick on you for the next 8 seconds is reduced by 70%. So say you're casting and a rogue, you're fighting an RMP, you're casting a poly, the rogue kicks you, and then you get locked out. And you try to cast a poly again, the mage kicks you, but the lockout won't be 6 seconds. It'll be like 2.5 seconds or something like that. It'll be much shorter, which allows you to consistently cast and pump out CC. Or say you're casting a ring and they lock you, and then you're casting a poly and then they lock you. Now you can cast a poly a lot quicker than you would if it was a full lockout. Or if you cast a poly, you get kicked, and then you try to cast a poly again and the priest silences you, the duration of the silence is shorter. So you pretty much, in the arenas, want to always be going for CC on the enemy healer while your partner just constantly spams damage. The thing about fire mages right now, because of the lack of damage, that we're very limited in the comps we can play. And I feel like most specs are viable, but when it comes to the comps that are viable, it's very limited. So like all the specs are viable, but there aren't many compositions you can play with each spec. For fire mages, I've found that playing FM Pal or WM Pal is your best bet. Because FM Pal is Feral Mage Paladin and WM Pal is Warrior Mage Paladin. Warriors and Ferals do a lot of consistent pressure and they just keep pumping. And same with Fire Mages. Their damage is all instant. It's not crazy burst like a Frost Mage or an Arcane Mage, but the damage is like consistent and there's no way to stop it because most of it's instant. You know, you got your instant Phoenix Flames, Fire Blasts, and Pyroblasts. And then you know, occasionally cast a Fireball. But because your damage is instant and you have tons of CC, it synergizes very well with a Feral Druid or a Warrior. And then playing with the Holy Paladin is really good too because of the Hand of Sacrifice that reduces damage you take by 100% and redirects it to your pally. It makes you be able to stay offensive. Not only that, but you got like the bops and the freedoms. You have like your Ice Cot block, and then the pally has bubbles. There's a lot of immunities and a lot of defensive cooldowns. So it's a very high survivability comp. Whereas Fire Mages alone, their survivability is like okay, but with Pallies it makes them like super strong. So FM Pal, WM Pal, so your goal would always be to go for CC, stay out of like a Bash or a Hajj, and then just train down the kill target until eventually they run out of cooldowns and you win the game. Alright, so oh, that's cool. There's like bats here. Is it because it's Halloween? It's pretty dope. This is like my favorite season, by the way, and wow, it's like so dope. Anyways, I'm gonna go do a mini rotation, I guess, on the target dummy. The way I start the game, it's always different. I mean, it's not PvE, it's very situational, right? But usually, say like the gates open, we enter the arena. Say this is like the healer, and this is the kill target, and this is the enemy healer. Obviously, the positioning will be different on the situation, but the way we open, if I play FM Pal, is my Feral will double stun them. My Feral is the one starting the CC chain. Back in MoP, you'd like Palm Poly and then deep the kill target. You would be doing the setups, but now in Legion, you follow up the CC for the most part. I mean, you can still go for DB sheeps, but it's better to go for the stun sheep, and then if it fails, then you have DB sheep as a backup. So usually my Feral will rake the kill target and leap over and bash the healer, and then you want to go for like a ring, and then pump damage into the main target. Usually, depending on the comp, you don't want to combust in the opener. You know, you don't want no premature combustions. You want to hold it till after you force a few cooldowns. Like say if you're fighting a hunter, you want to force Roar of Sack first because it makes them immune to crits, which completely denies combustion. You want to maybe force an AMS first from a DK. Maybe like a wall from a Feral. It's always good to force because when when the enemy healer's in a CC, they're gonna have to pop cooldowns, or the enemy healer is gonna have to trinket. So in the first go, popping combustion is usually a waste because you'll force without using your offensive cooldown anyways. But once you're in a CC, you're gonna want to start pumping out as many pyros as possible. So to obviously get a pyro, it's been like this way for many years. You need to get 2 crits in a row to get an instant pyroblast, which is your main source of damage. So you can, you know, cast a Scorch if you want, which is RNG. Okay, see that's 1 crit. You got a heating up, which is a half hot streak, and then if you crit again, you get the full instant pyro. So then you chuck the pyro in, and once again, if that pyro crits, you get another heating up. Then you're gonna want to seal the deal with a fire blast because a fire blast is a guaranteed crit, and just keep pumping pyros. The best way to get as much DPS as possible is by using your Phoenix Flames and Fire Blast. So this is like your craziest burst. Phoenix Flames and Fire Blast, they each have 3 stacks. Fire Blast not being on a global cooldown. They give their instant and also their guaranteed crit. So if you Phoenix Flames and Fire Blast at the same time, you'll get a guaranteed hot streak. And then you can chuck that in. Whoops. And then you have a half crit, so then you can get another guaranteed hot streak with another Fire Blast. Chuck that in. If it doesn't crit, then you can Phoenix Flames, Fire Blast for another hot streak. Chuck that in. If it doesn't crit, once again, you have another Phoenix Flames, Fire Blast. Ideally, when you're bursting, you're going to combust and just be spamming Phoenix Flame, Fire Blast, Pyro Blast, Fire Blast, Pyro Blast, Fire Blast, Pyro Blast, Phoenix Flame, Pyro Blast. And because you have combustion up, it will give you the guaranteed crit. And then, of course, you want to like drop your meteor on the kill target. And then if you're running Living Bomb, you want to use that if they're not stacked with the healer. The thing about fire mages is like a lot of their damage is just spread pressure. So in this case, if the enemy healer is CC'd, you do not want to Phoenix Flames the kill target if they're stacked, because as you can see, it splashes the damage and breaks the CC, and that ruins the whole kill potential, because the enemy healer needs to be in a CC for the most part, 99% of the time, if you want to score the kills. So if they're stacked, you do not want to use Phoenix Flames or Living Bomb, because Living Bomb also spreads and breaks polymorphs. And also, if you're dropping a meteor, you don't want to drop it like this. If this is the healer that's CC'd and this is the kill target, you want to drop it at an angle like this, or even like this. Even if it's like right here, it'll still hit this target dummy. You'll see. See, it still hits. So like, you just gotta. And also, meteor splits the damage evenly between all targets. So if you just hit one target, it's better than hitting 3, because that means the kill target will take more. So don't drop your meteor like this. If the healer CC, drop it like this. And also do not Phoenix Flames when they're stacked. You're going to be wanting to just use fireballs, Fire Blast, and Pyros. But say they are not stacked. Say this is the healer and this is the kill target, and they're like across the map. You land a CC, and you're going to want to, if they have no cooldowns, you're going to want to actually use all your instants. You don't want to cast, unless you have Tinder up, you're going to want to Phoenix Flames, Fire Blast, Combust to make the Pyro Blast guaranteed crit, then Fire Blast for another hot streak, Pyro Blast, Fire Blast, Pyro Blast, Phoenix Flames, Pyro Blast, Fire Blast, Pyro Blast. That'll be your crazy burst. And if you just keep spamming all your instants, it's going to create a fat ignite on the target, which weirdly enough is your max damage. Even if you're spamming pyros left and right, because you're spamming so much, if you check your recount, your biggest damage will be in ignite. So yeah, that's pretty much how you do your damage. You just spam pyros with the instance. And then if you're running Tinder, which I like to run, you can actually run Flare Up as well. It's personal preference. But Tinder makes your next fireball, if you haven't cast a fireball for 8 seconds, it makes your next fireball do 30% more damage with a 50% reduced cast time. So what I like to do is if I land CC on the healer, this only works in PvP, so you can't really see an example here. But then I'll like Combust, then Fire Blast. Fireball, Fire Blast, and since it's guaranteed crit with the combustion, you start pumping like that, and I'll start the rotation with the quick cast Fireball, and then my Pharaoh will stun the kill target. Then you can drop a meteor on top of the stun to keep the target stationary. They can't avoid the meteor, and then usually by now the kill target will pop a defensive cooldown, or the healer will trinket, and then you'll follow it up with a DB sheep. Oh, sorry, I just whiffed that. A DB sheep, but it's very situational. But that's just the mindset that you want to have, is you get CC on the healer with a Pharaoh Bash or a H-Pal stun, and then you force cooldowns. And then once you're done, you have to kite. You start kiting and surviving until the next go, once the poly year is off, and then you can go again. So it's like a back and forth battle, and you have to force all their defensive cooldowns, their trinkets, and then eventually win the game before they do the same to you. If you're kiting, a few little tips. With a hot streak proc, instead of using it for an instant pyro, you can actually AoE flame strike them, which will add a little slow. It reduces their movement speed by 50%. So you can like instant flame strike. Usually flame strike is a long cast, but with the double crit guaranteed pyro, you can use it for his flame strike and spam slow them. And just blink away, line of sight if it's a DPS. Use Living Bomb too once in a while. If you have no more instant Fire Blast, Phoenix Flame stacks, you can, you know, throw a Living Bomb in there. Another quick tip, if you're fighting like a demo lock with like a million imps, what Living Bomb does, as you can see right here, you apply it, and when it explodes, it spreads to all nearby targets. So now the focus target has a Living Bomb. But imagine if there's like 8 imps around that kill target. You Living Bomb it, it spreads to 8 imps, and then when it explodes on the imps, it chunks the Warlock too if they're stacked. So it actually does like as much as a Pyro, the explosion, if they're stacked, if not more. So you can actually do some crazy DPS with that, or like anything with a lot of pets. But once again, you do not want to apply this when they're stacked with a healer. It's only when you're not going for CC, or the CC's on DR, or if they're not stacked with a healer. Same with Phoenix Flames once again, because it splashes. Same with Meteor. You don't want to drop a Meteor on the sheep target. It's just gonna break. And also the Meteor leaves a dot on the ground, just like a Flame Strike. So if you sheep a healer on top of that, because there's a dot on the ground, it's going to instantly break too. So there's a lot of things that you got to be aware of. That it'll come with time though. At first, you're probably going to break a lot of sheeps and rings, but the more you play, the more you'll get used to it. And even today, I still make these little mistakes from time to time, but it's just something you got to work on to master. So once again, in between goes, you're kiting, trying to survive, blinking away, trying to temporal shield when they connect to you if your healer's in a CC. But since you're playing with a pally, most likely, you know, he has 2-handed stacks if he's running that spec. He can give you freedoms to kite. He has bops. He can bop your stuns. But yeah, I mean, that's the pretty much basis of it. Now that the poly DR is off, you're going to go in there again. Land some CC on the healer, like right here. The Feral is going to stun the kill target, or the pally's going to hodge the kill target. You can even go for like a breath ring on the healer. And then combust, drop a Meteor on the kill target. Tinder, Fireball, Pyroblast with the combust, and just spam all your instants. It's going to create a fat ignite on the target. You're going to want to get as many sheeps as well. Follow up that ring or sheep with 2 more sheeps. The goal is to land as many sheeps as you can. I mean, obviously you'll get kicked, but that's why you have something like Dragon's Breath or Nova, or if you're Blood Elf, you can Belf Silence, Resheep. There's a lot of things you can do. I'm going to actually commentate a live game to give you guys a better example, because I feel like it'll help you get a better understanding of how to play. Okay, so right here, I'm going to commentate a game that I had on my live stream. And I apologize in advance. It's kind of like all grainy. The quality's not that good because I took it off my live stream. It's not going to be as good as raw gameplay. But yeah, I'm going to explain exactly what's going on and what's going on in my head during this game. Right here, with our opener, my Pharaoh's going to rake the kill target and bash the healer. So usually like right here, as you can see, there's 1.8 seconds left on the rake. Ideally, I want to start casting a sheep or ring right there, because ring sheep takes like 1.4 seconds, I think, to cast. So if I start casting it before the stun ends, that means the DK is covered. That's what cover means. The off target is CC'd, so that way when I go for a cast, they're unable to stop me. He won't be able to grip me or kick me. That's the ideal opener, but I was a little slow on this one. I started casting a ring like as the stun ends on the DK, but it's still just while the shaman is stunned, so it's okay. I might be able to land it here, but nope. I get gripped by the DK. They accidentally overlap it with a hunter kick, so that's actually not too bad. I'm gonna go for a sheep right here. My pally half hodges to give me more time to land the sheep. I juke a kick right here. I try to sheep. I blink and they get stunned by the binding shot. So now we've gone through DK death grip, hunter kick, DK kick. Now all that's left is the shaman wind shear interrupt and his grounding totem. Even with burning determination and even having all these different schools, every class is so disruptive, man. Like Demo Warlocks with 1,000,000 stuns, Ellie Shaman with like the little extra stun. They have like Demon Hunters just stop you like crazy, and when you finally land a poly, they can reverse it. So although you have a lot of different schools and tools to land CC, there's so many different ways they can stop you. So it's kind of a mind game, you know. Sometimes you gotta juke, sometimes you gotta bait kicks to let burning determination kick in. It's very situational and it comes with time. But right here, once again, there's no grip, no kicks from the DPS. I just have to go through shear. So right here, I'm gonna try to juke shear, but I do get interrupted by it. But it's okay because now all he has is grounding. So I'm gonna try to breath sheep him, but then I get stunned on it. Once again, 1,000,000 stops. I try to cast a poly. The shaman grounds it. The grounding eats it. So I'm gonna quickly target it and pyroblast it, and try to cast a sheep right here. Right before the shaman lines it, I land a sheep. So right here, the DK has no AMS. And he's like already half HP. So I'm gonna pop my combustion and Tinder Fireball, fast cast Fireball, Fire Blast, and start chunking that rotation I was saying earlier. And I also temporal shield a little earlier as well, and it procs and saves me from caughting. Let me go back and rewind that exactly. So as I kill the grounding right here, I'm going to temporal and then start casting a sheep. Because I'm low and my healer is telling me in calm that I'm in trouble, I'm going to temporal shield, land the poly, pop combust, tinder fireball. And the tempo's really good because it saved me right there from having to cauterize or ice block, or my pally having the stack. I'm going to go for a resheep right now, or I guess I can't because he's still out of line. But right there, because we combusted, we forced the DK's IBF, Icebound Fortitude, and the Hunter's Roar of Sacrifice. IBF reduces damage that the DK takes and also allows him to heal with death strikes, I believe. And then the Hunter Roar Sack makes him immune to crits. So what Combustion does is it makes me get guaranteed crits, 100% crit chance, but then Roar Sack makes him immune to crits, so it completely counterbalances my offensive cooldown, which is good. Usually I don't like to combust before Roar Sack, but right there he had no AMS, so it was fine because now the DK has no AMS, Icebound, and they have no pet sack. And I still haven't had to block yet, so we're majorly ahead in this game. I'm going to swap the Hunter a little bit since my Combust is still up, and obviously the DK I can't crit on him, so I'm just going to start hitting the Hunter a little bit with my Combust to create some more overall pressure. Since I'm so low, my Pally's going to Hand of Sack me right here, which reduces 100% of the damage I take, so I'm completely immune, and it takes the damage I take and transfers it to my Paladin, hence why it's called Sacrifice. And it's really good. We have like 2 of these most of the games if my Pally's running the right spec, so it allows me to stay offensive, which is why I love playing with Pally so much. So right here, we're gonna have to try to survive. Usually I'll like sheep the off target to peel, but since he's low, I'm not gonna do it right here. Right here, the Shaman is coming off Polydeer, which means we can go again. You know, it's the phase where we start going offensive. The DK kicks me right here, which is really good because now that I'm interrupted, it gives me the Burning Determination buff, which makes me makes my next interrupt shorter, which is perfect. So I actually baited the kick. Sometimes it's good to bait kicks there. I'm gonna start spell stealing a little bit of the DK's buffs, and I'm gonna try to go for a sheep right here. I'm going to blink and start casting, which is kind of dumb of me because he still has shear and grounding. But, you know, it forces the DK to grip me anyway, so now he has no grip. We really want to get CC on the Shaman right now. Every second that goes by when the Shaman's off DR and, like, nothing's being stunned is we're wasting time. So my Feral needs to land the stun, like, ASAP. So I see my Feral is slowly running into the Shaman to land a bash so I could sheep off of it. I don't have any blink stacks right now, so he needs to land it while he's in my line. But unfortunately, the Shaman is really good at cutting. He sees it coming. My Pharaoh lands the bash eventually, but behind the pillar, and I like only have 1 blink stack. I can't go back there right now or I'm going to die. So unfortunately, I can't land a CC here. I get kicked on the fireball. This is a bad go. Like, we should have landed a CC there and we would have won, but we didn't. So I'm just going to try to survive. My Druid gives me thorns. My Pally half Hodges right here, which is perfect. Check this out here. Let me go back a little bit. I'm casting a Poly right here on the Shaman, and he shears it. The shear locket is really short because of Burning Determination, because I've been kicked already. My Pally half Hodges. I'm going to try to sheep off the short lockout. The Shaman's going to drop a grounding. That's all their kicks. It's super short on me. Right here, I'm going to start casting a Poly. And mid-cast, I'm going to target the grounding and kill it with Fire Blast and land it. The thing about Fire Blast is it's off a global cooldown, and you can use it while casting. So I literally killed it mid-cast right there and allowed the Poly to land. And now the DK here, his AMS is about to come out, but he has no IBF. They have no pet sack, so we're going to just start pumping him here. And my Pally handed sacks me for the 2nd time to keep me offensive. The DK is going to AMS last second, but I'm going to follow that up with the Dragon's Breath, and he's just going to end up dying to Feral Bleeds and physical damage. So as you can see right there, that was a pretty prime example of Burning Determination, the talent really benefiting me in that game. I was getting constantly kicked, but because I was purposely baiting it and not juking, it allowed the interrupts to be a lot shorter, and then mid-cast I kill the grounding and we score the CC and win the game. We drained them of their defensive cooldowns a lot faster than they could to us. And don't get me wrong, this is a really good team. We lose to them all the time, but in this game, we were able to score the kill. And I still had Ice Block and Cauterize. We didn't have any more stacks left, but I think we also had a bop left too, so we were in pretty good hands here. Alright, so that's it for this video. I just want to cover kind of like just a surface level mindset of what's going on and how to, you know, set up kills with the FMP comp. Pretty much it works similarly with W and Pal as well. The Pal, you're just going to have to Hodge or blind the healer first instead of your Feral bashing. But yeah, hopefully you have a better idea of what kind of mindset you should have as a Fire Mage in the arena. If you guys have any questions, make sure to leave them in the comments down below. I'll try to get back to you as soon as possible, or I could just use it and make it another video. Because I'm streaming all my games, I have tons of footage I can use for different guides, different matchups. But once again, this is just like this basic surface level stuff. There's a lot of different advanced tactics that I pull out depending on the comps I run that I would love to share. So yeah, because I'm queuing arena so much, I think this is something I can bring value for you guys. But yeah, let me know any questions down below. Just hit me up. I got you for the next video if you guys want it. So we'll see how well this video does. But yeah, thanks for watching. Thumbs up if it helped you out, and yeah, I'll see you guys on stream. I guess I stream almost every day, so tune in, come watch the games, man. Some epic shit. Yeah, I have to, my mom's gonna be here with some food for me, so like I have to hopefully we finish this fast. I have to like buzzer this game.
Oh, are you gonna stop queuing?
No, I can still queue. I just need to clear it back for like 5.
Alright, you ready?
Yeah.
I'm just going, dude.
Yeah, go. Ringing. Wait, okay. Grip.
Go DK.
Nice juke my freeze. I'm stunned.
Look at these snipers, bro.
I'm shoot. Breath shoot me. Go. I'm stunned. This is grounding, by the way. Grounding, killed it. Tapping, sheeping here. This is shoot. This is sheep. Full sheep. Combusting. So much damage, dude. Ice pound?
Yeah, IBF. And sack.
Okay, yeah, so good. But yeah, that was my combust though, that's by the way. Hitting Hunter hard actually. For a second.
Oh my god.
Nice sack. Okay.
Alright, I'm back on.
I can mock next.
Fucking gay boy. Yo, he did the thing. Get out of the fucking earth shield, please.
Freedom.
Yo, can we get a stun? I can shoot off.
Yeah, bro.
Draft.
I'm going.
I'm bubbling.
Full. I'm trying to get there, bro. I bashed it.
Fuck, that's so too late, man. I can't shoot that shit.
I couldn't fucking get there.
Oh no, I can't shoot it. No way.
Dodged it.
Shooting, maybe. I'm frozen. Yo, getting grounding right here. Fuck, full sheep. Tapping. Yeah, we win. We actually win. I breath off. We win. Breath. Nice.
Ah! Yeah, bitch.
You're like, I'm trying. I see you fucking waddling to for a bash, and I'm like,
Bro,
please. And then you get him on the other side of the pillar. I need two.
This is me. I'm spamming shift.
I would need 2 blink stacks to get there.
Shift.
I would need 2 blink stacks to get there, and even if I got there, it would be too late. Like.
Alright, I'm watching my VOD of me being retarded. 1 second. Talk to you guys later.
Wait, hold on.